A very good afternoon to all who have just joined us at Tech Innovation 2021. The next program will be on IPHatch, which is a program that uniquely matches technologies from multinational corporations with startups to accelerate their businesses. This year's IPHatch will focus on sustainable food production and agritech. Should you have any questions during the presentations, please type them in the Q&A feature at the left panel on your screen. We will answer as many questions as we can. So let's get started. Right now, we'd like to invite Jason Low, CEO and founder of Peace Future, to give his opening address for IPHatch. Jason?
Thank you, MC. A very good afternoon to everyone. I'm Jason Low, founder and CEO of Peace Future, and a very warm welcome to our 5th IPHatch Singapore launch 2021. We are very excited to launch this program with our co-organizers, Innovation Partner for Impact, IPI. As much as my team and I would really want to be doing this launch in person, COVID has made our plans change once again, and we look forward to seeing all of you face-to-face next year. Peace Future has developed a unique platform over the years to help startups to enter the intellectual property world, IPHatch program. It is the concept of reusing well-written and high-tech patents of multinational companies, for example, Nokia and Panasonic, and applying them in new and innovative ways to save time and allow startups to jumpstart their technology development journey. Till date, we are very happy to announce that we have nearly 50 startups with us in this program in Asia, and this would not be possible without all of our partners. In line with IPI's theme for this year's A Sustainable and Resilient Future, we have placed greater emphasis to include sustainable impact in our program, encouraging startups to use these innovations to solve meaningful everyday problems. In return, developing greater impact to the environment. We will also be addressing the needs in sustainable food and nutrition by partnering with Panasonic Factory Solution Asia Pacific to launch their Sustainable Startup Factory. We believe this move will allow more startups to go into the space of food and agritech. They will be sharing more on the launch with you after, and we are very honored to support the startup in this space. Once again, we would like to invite all businesses who want to explore further to expand into other parts of Asia, develop world-class technology for your products, and tap into our amazing network of investors. We invite you to come and join this program. I myself is a big fan of future and innovation, and I would like to encourage innovation beyond courage to make use of this tough climate to do something that is meaningful. The launch today is the start of many milestones we would like to achieve with you. During the next few months, we will be having different workshops, seminars, where the startups will be able to join and gain valuable knowledge and experience about creating new business opportunity, business modeling, and funding opportunity with our partner VCs. Later, we have 2 startups from our program to share more about their IPHatch journey with you. Feel free to ask them as many questions as possible. With that, we hope IPHatch can further ignite your journey in Singapore, and I wish all of you a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Next, Yasuhiro Suzuki from Panasonic Factory Solutions Asia Pacific will be sharing about the Open Innovation Platform, Sustainable Startup Factory for startups in the food and tech area. Yasuhiro?
I hope everyone is in good health despite the drastic changes happening around the world. I'm Yasuhiro Suzuki from Panasonic. As set out in the basic management objective announced by the company's founder, Mr. Konosuke Matsushita, the Panasonic Group has kept its public pledge of making contributions to the progress and development of society and the well-being of the people worldwide through our business activities. Up to the present, this philosophy is still held deep in our hearts. We aim to contribute to further social development by globally offering a convenient, safe, and comfortable lifestyle in a broad range of areas. In case of PFSAP, Panasonic Factory Solutions Asia Pacific, our essential contribution is delivering innovative solutions that bring value to our customers in production and processes in the advanced manufacturing and agritech industry. PFSAP was first set up in 1978 to produce tooling for plastic injection mold for internal usage. Over the years, the company continued to evolve by manufacturing industrial equipment for PCB electronics assembly and supporting the manufacturing community through our distributed network of sales and service centers across Asia Pacific and world. In 2013, the company ventured into a new business, urban farming solutions, featuring a high-tech indoor farming facility that cultivates and harvests an impressive range of premium crops in the tours for Singapore. Based on the best knowledge, it is the only company in Singapore that has attained both farm license and food processing license on a single site certified by AVA, known as SFA Singapore Food Agency. We are doing this to progressively realize our vision of farm to fork with scalable, customizable nutrition supply, aiming zero wastage to answer to the need of food security. We are now embarking on the next innovation cycle, looking at enabling entire new value for urban farming to be sustainable and support the circular economy. With many different IP developed and acquired along the years, we are looking forward to having startups jointly participate and create a new generation of value chain for urban farming. PFSAP will join along with IPHatch regional program to look out for promising startups to invite them into our incubation program. Looking forward to seeing startups to come jointly innovate with Panasonic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yasuhiro. I'd like to remind everyone to type in any questions that you may have in the Q&A feature on your screen. We will answer as many questions as we can. Right now, we'll be moving on to the panel discussion on what drives sustainable innovation. We'd like to invite Jason back on screen as our moderator for this segment, together with our other panelists who will be joining as well. We have Dr. Lo Manji, Manager, Panasonic Factory Solutions Asia Pacific, Adrian Leonardi, Manager, Innovation and Technologies, Continental Automotive Singapore, and Jenny Risco, Impact Partner of Click Ventures. Jason, over to you.
Thank you. Very good afternoon to everyone again. I'm very honored to be chairing this panel. So we have three distinguished panelists with us today. As the MC have introduced them, I will not be going deep into their roles. Maybe you guys can later on, when we go into the questions, you will get to know them more. Maybe in view of time, we'll dive into the first question, which I would like to actually discuss with the panelists. So actually, sustainability has been a very, very hot topic recently. And we're just thinking in the space of innovation, especially what are the new opportunities that will be coming out in sustainable innovation over the next 5 to 10 years. Maybe we can start off this question and share with the audience, what do you think this area will be like, in the future? So maybe I get Yanni, you to start off.
Yeah, hi, and thank you for having me. So definitely one of the big things that I see that will affect those innovations and sustainability will be also related to sustainable investing practices that are kind of consistently now moving. The capital is moving to the direction that we are not only looking for looking for those returns and looking for profitability and high growth, but we're also looking for those positive impacts that are related to whether it's environmental, whether it's social, but some sort of kind of double blended value approach. And of course, that will once there's also more capital available in the startup space, and it's more and more kind of targeted towards founders and companies that have this kind of double edged sword there, which is they are fast growth, they are core tech companies, but they also want to do good for the world. They have a certain positive impact that is tied either with the founder intentionality. So the founders themselves are driven by this mission of changing the world for better, and they use a certain technology or they use a certain business model to do that in an innovative way. Or we are also looking at technologies that, of course, will allow that huge potential of change. And I mean, there's there's so many lists of like the MIT list, the various technologies. There's so many, like looking at artificial intelligence, looking at innovation around energy, green hydrogen, looking at innovations around future of food, looking at non-meats, whether traditional sources such as plant-based or lab-grown alternative proteins. We're looking at blockchain, decentralized or green finance. There are, and even if you look at, economy of things, so innovation around how we live, work, and consume. So an economy of things facilitated by 5G that can generate massive data. There's so many things that are actually quite exciting to watch in the early stage venture space that can have an enormous impact going forward.
Well, I think that's very, very comprehensive. In fact, I feel that it's very exciting coming forward. I mean, in the next 12 years, not just we are looking at exciting new technologies. From what Yanni you just said, we need to look for positive impact, which is really, really the thing right now to do. Adrian, do you have any sharing on that from your perspective?
Right. Thank you for having me here, Jason. So to me, sustainability is now the key driver of innovation. And I see this trend to become even stronger in the next 5 to 10 years. And we are trying to turn these challenges into opportunities, right? So I do not believe that we have to choose between the largely social benefits of developing sustainable products or processes and the financial cost of doing so. I do believe that both bottom line and top line return yield through sustainable innovation is definitely possible. We look at compliance as an opportunity, making value chain sustainable and operation. So I believe that there is a massive opportunity in designing sustainable products and services, right? So let me give you some examples, right? Carbon neutrality. We look at the current global economy is producing about 50 billion tons of carbon dioxide per annum, and we are trying to achieve this. And not only us, right? Many companies are trying to achieve carbon neutrality for us is by 2030, and some could be even more aggressive, right? Then there's emission-free mobility and industry. Like we structurally will switch to emission-free technology. We look at circular economy. 90 billion ton of resource consumption per annum will be shifted to circular business models. And lastly, we look at responsible value chain. Global value chain will change and rebuild responsibly and geared towards the future, right?
Yes, I think those are very much in trend right now. Circular economy, and how the whole thing is affecting the whole entire value chain. I think these are all enormous. I feel enormous opportunity that is coming forward in the future. Very well said. Manjit, you from Panasonic, you have any viewpoints that you want to share?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me today for the panel discussion. For us, I think we are very glad that our founder, since many years ago, we celebrated 100 years of Panasonic, right? So sustainability seems to be the DNA of Panasonic, I would say. When we started the business, I think one of the key importance that our founder actually bring up is that we need to develop our product towards the contribution of the society. So it is already very much in our DNA, and I think the recent CEO also bring up that in actual fact, all our products should go towards answering the sustainability, contributing to the society. I would say, like it or not, this is the buzzword that you need to have. In any of your proposal, you would need to have this sustainable as a keyword to make an impact. Personally, for my point of view is that I think it comes in many perspectives, especially in the innovative space that we are working on. I think sustainability also need to look into not only finding a good idea, you will need to find how to actually deploy the idea. And at the same time, I would say in anyhow, you need to keep on living, meaning you need flow. So how do you do that? So I would say it is really a difficult journey, especially for the startup. For MNC, I would say we are much more in a better position because we have a budget over there for us to create innovation. So yeah, I would say this is really going to be a big thing in the future. 5 to 10 years later, we will need to have sustainability. And of course, in our space, we are working very hard into sustainability also. We are looking into AI as our key technologies. We are also looking into 2D material key technologies to develop. So yeah, very, very interesting. So let's hope this will continue and we could make a better world for tomorrow.
Amazing. I think, Manja, I need you to. I have a further questions for you. I mean, since we are on the topic, the MNC has more resources than startups. Maybe in general, I think I would like you to comment on what kind of resources would be needed to allocate, because from MNC you have different scale. What kind of resources, the normal companies or any company should try to allocate to drive sustainable innovation, and any skills or gaps that we can that can maybe limit us from, I mean, other than money, what are the skills and gaps that we, will kind of limit us from achieving the sustainable goals? Any sharing from you on that?
Of course, I would say money is the biggest problem. Luckily for MNC, normally we have some legendary product or cash cow, which can actually fund us and then continue to create innovation so that our business continuity is there. I would say another key things that we need to ensure is the resources, especially manpower. I would say talent is the biggest importance among all. And that is actually the thing that we always need to ensure, meaning keep on creating more training so that we can train our staff to be able to work our job, do their job accordingly. I would say in certain case, we even need to reskill them to pick up new technologies so that they can actually perform in the future. So I would say that is the two key area that, especially for my division, that is something very critical to keep on moving.
Okay, well noted. Since you're talking about money, I think the person to ask probably Yanni. You have any comment from an impact investor point of view in this?
Yeah, so for sure, I see startups and especially startup founders, I see them as a tremendously amazing way of solving problems quickly, and also doing that in a way that it can be commercially viable, so that there is a future for that particular product or service that can actually solve large problems, and startups are very, very fast at doing so. And I think resources that they need will obviously be capital, But there's even more so a big conversation around conscious capital, responsible capital, also impact enabled capital, meaning that, you know, as investors, you do have a certain responsibility also on kind of how, not just on the returns, but also that, you know, are you encouraging the journey of those startups into kind of having that blended value approach, that not only are you looking at the returns, but, you know, also we're looking at positive impact. So for certainly what is happening or has been happening, especially during these past few years, and I think that COVID largely has been speeding up this process, is that there's more and more capital that is now flowing towards you know, sustainable finance, looking at sustainability in terms of startups. And the biggest single driver for sure will be talent. I actually see that as a huge opportunity, because if you look at the younger generations that are kind of coming up, the next generation founders, they not only are they, you know, very, very mission driven, they are very savvy, you know, when it comes to tech, comes to digital, but they also want to apply their skills and that talent into solving these, you know, world's largest issues and problems. So I think that there's a huge push from the talent side to look at sustainability. So that I see actually as a huge resource, and that, you know, then when you combine that talent with the capital, so then, you know, you have the means and ways to do that. And for sure, the consumer side of things and the markets are really pushing towards sustainability already.
I think that's a very good observation, and definitely talent and the market force is one of the very, very key strength, you know, to actually drive us into this, you know, and I think COVID has really enabled this to speed up in many, many different ways. It's very interesting moving forward. Adrian, you have anything you want to add on this?
Yeah, I think the topic is has been mentioned here by Manjit and Jenny, right? It's all about talent. And just to a bit add on is this is a very early field. Like plenty of things such as rule of engagement is still being defined as we speak now, and the jobs and skills that requires to achieve this goal are probably something that most of us have never heard of at this moment. So people are your most important resources, and not people of specific skills, but people with growth mindset. You know, you need to be able to be agile, to take in new roles and define what we need to do here. For example, right, the role of the CSO is pretty new. Yes, I mean it's like we have never heard about this chief sustainability officer maybe 10 years ago. But even up till today, right, their roles is ever revolving. You need to look at it holistically across the company. And sustainability is not just environment, right? It's both economy. The company still need to answer to their stakeholders, and the environment, and lastly to the social benefit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are definitely great points that everyone should look out for. And in fact, I think we're really at the beginning of the cycle. Okay, in short time, we do have one very important question, and I know that Yanni may need to run off for another urgent meeting. Maybe I want to ask that when coming to new technology or startup, all right, how do you assess it, that if they are even sustainable? I think this question is inside many different companies. So how am I really sustainable? So maybe Yanni, what do you think about that when you come to assessing companies or technology?
Right. So, I mean, if we talk about sustainable investing in general terms, I mean, you know, despite the popularity and significance of investing in this area, like there's still confusion around terminology. But basically, like, I mean, it contains, you know, various different categories, like social responsible investing, looking at environmental, social, and governance, like the ESG, that is largely talked about today. Looking at impact investing, there's different ways going about that, but I think that, you know, in general terms, like, or even if you look at how BlackRock defines it, which would be, and how they look at sustainable investing decisions, for example, would be that combining the best of traditional investing approaches with insights that are traditionally non-financial to generate better long-term outcomes. So if you look at how you can define sustainability, I think that you can do it in a number of different ways. I've heard there's around 600 metrics around assessing sustainability. It's a huge topic. You have conferences around this. I think that I personally like to look at it from a very simple lens, at least for the start, which is, if I come across a startup or a founder, I'm looking at, whether, the founders, for example, themselves have intention or willingness, or there's a certain drive to, create the best potential companies out there, but also that they have this interest of creating some sort of positive legacy, whether it's positive social or positive environmental impact that goes along with their entrepreneurial journey and the startup journey, and whether they want to kind of include this as part of their business model, or whether they see this as something that is just part of the company mission. Another would be also looking at the technologies themselves. So even the company itself would not have or call themselves as impact startups, but they might have been working on a technology that could have a tremendous impact in various different fields. So I think that is something that in a short nutshell is kind of what I'm using as, at least as a personal kind of compass for the starters. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that there are over 600 such standards. So you have no lack of reference. And I truly agree with you. The founder's so-called perspective and intention is very, very important. Their willingness to even look at it or see how it can impact. And of course, the accidental sustainable factors that technology can bring, I think that will be it's also very positive. All right, Manjit, how about you? I mean, when you're actually going into any form of technology, or your sustainable startup factory, so how do you guys select such startups in future, or even technologies that you're going to invest?
So of course, like we say, first of all, when we decided to work with a startup, they need to be in line to our business philosophy. This is something for sure. So in certain case, the business that they are doing might be one or another in sustainable way, right? So what I think is that while we are talking about sustainability, the important is also how can they scale? Are they just an idea that only manage to evolve in that small little sector, or it actually can go into many other sectors? So I think that is something very critical when we talk about startup. Even in the technology we are developing, that's why whenever we try to develop technology and even training of our members toward the skill training, we always wanted to be very deep into some technology so that it can actually scale to many areas. Just like if we talk about software is basically pretty nice, and it can actually easily to evolve to go into other areas. So that's, I think, for us, need to evolve, able to scale is a critical point for our selection for technologies.
Good point. And I think the clock is running, but I still want a quick comment from Adrian. Adrian, you have any quick comment to give before we wrap up the panel?
Well, I'll make it super quick, yeah. So I believe in the market forces. So when a startup start their startup, of course, they have to go with the trend, with the sustainability in mind. It's no coincidence that there is no startup working on internal combustion technologies. So from our point of view, just like Manji aptly stated, it has to align to our philosophy, right? What we want to achieve. So from corporate perspective, we want to be carbon neutral by 2050, right? So we are looking for startup to work together to achieve these goals. On the other end of the spectrum, we are also looking at startup as technology supplier. So we look at startup who we can go to market together And of course, in terms of our product line, sustainability is also one of our principles. So, I mean, it comes somehow naturally, and of course, the technology must be able to scale up. Yeah.
Thank you, Adrian. It's really a very, very exciting panel, because this is such a very interesting and hot topic right now. And I think the sharing from the panelists is just awesome. And first, I really want to thank all of you for your time to join us in the panel. Unfortunately, we cannot answer any questions this time, but thank you everyone, and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, Jason. Take care.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we are unable to sustain the discussion much longer due to time constraints, but a big thank you to Dr. Lo Manji, Adrian Leonardi, Jenny Risco, and Jason Low for moderating our session. Now, next up, we will learn how open innovation can be a catalyst for greater business growth from the fireside chat. Claire Lim, who is in charge of regional business development at Peace Future, will be moderating this session. We have Stephen Dominic Chung from Seaplane Hong Kong, and Michael Yin from Trinity Eco, who will be joining her as panelists. Now, before we do continue with this session, we'd like to remind everyone to keep the questions coming through the Q&A feature on your screen as well. So over to you, Claire.
Everyone, I'm Claire from Peace Future, and I'm really glad to have with me Stephen Chung and Michael Yi, past winners from our latest IPHatch program run, to share on the topic of open innovation as a catalyst to boost your business. So before we start, let's start with a brief introduction from Stephen and Michael. Maybe Stephen, you would like to start first?
Hi, thank you, Claire. Thank you. It's a wonderful opportunity to join you from Hong Kong. I'm the founder of Seaplane Hong Kong Group, and underneath we have Dragonfly X, which is one of the most exciting company that does hydrogen urban air mobility manufacturing and, of course, development here based in Hong Kong, and hopefully with the help of Peace Future, we'll be expanding across Southeast Asia.
Great, thank you so much. What about you, Michael?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael. I'm from Trinity Eco. So we are a sustainability tech company helping businesses and investors to evaluate their investments in the green financing sector.
Oh, that's brief. Thanks so much, Michael, as well. So as Jason has highlighted in his opening speech, IPHatch is an open innovation program where we take patents from multinational corporations to seed it into startups to allow them to grow with the new technologies and jumpstart their business. So let me just jump straight into our first question. So how do you see open innovation as a catalyst for formulating ideas and finding solutions? Stephen?
It's absolutely wonderful. Open innovation together with external ideas, plus our own internal ideas, it become really cost-effective ways of doing R&Ds. It minimize innovation risk. Of course, we engage with our potential customers, our clients, our various stakeholders, such as research institutions and universities here in Hong Kong. We're trying to co-create. So we're trying to create something completely new. There are over hundreds of urban air mobility companies across the world. And we're one of the first that come up with hydrogen, ammonia, and possibly in solid state to develop a flying machine that can be offering an affordable solution to various ways. So in a way, open innovation help us to minimize risk, because the whole R&D process can take anything from 2 to 7 years, and it's very risky for investors to invest something that has a very long return or something that doesn't work at all. So it's very, very useful for us to find ways that work already in the market and find out what's out there already existing in the market, and we're trying to create a new market with a new product with the help of open innovation.
Great, I hear very good positive key points like minimizing risk, how it can be cost effective. What about Michael? What are your thoughts on this question?
I think this is a really complex question, but I will say that, in the past, sustainable, innovation and is kept in a close silos by many companies because of the importance of IP, and also because, it's they try to make it difficult for the competitors to outcompete them. But I think what you're starting to see is that the pace of technology advancement has outpatched the ability for people, for society, and for businesses to adapt. So what you're starting to see is that there's more innovation, more open innovation going on in the fact that there's more corporate to startup partnership. And the benefits of doing so is immense. It helps to align your innovation with the ecosystem within your own industries, but it also creates more opportunity for co-creation and creating new IPs. So I think with the emergence of open source, of a changing mindset of leaders towards a growth mindset and etc., we're starting to see more collaboration, but we're also starting to see more value that each innovations are bringing to the community.
See, all this sounds like very positive things about open innovation, and I believe both of you must have done a lot in this area, trying to co-create partnerships with different stakeholders in your respective industries. So for the next question, I think let's jump a little bit more about the patents that was awarded to you in IPHatch. How can this help, in this whole open innovation? And maybe you want to share a little bit about your plans and how does the patents actually help to translate to you scaling your business? Maybe Stephen, we can start with you first.
Yeah, it really jumpstarts our R&D process because it's already a patent that's been registered. We're not worried about anyone stealing it. And most of all, the technology really help us jumpstart the entire process where we can incorporate that into our product. And what we're doing right now here is where of course we're early stage startup and early stage in development in terms of the urban air mobility. It really add a lot of credibility and support from various stakeholders. The IP itself, we have a smart tracker. So basically, it really assisted us for the first reduce about probably 2 years of development work in terms of the aircraft positioning, how can we integrate that into various systems. So it's incredibly helpful to be awarded that to IP to our company, and it saved us a lot of money. It reduced the R&D time, but also add credibility to the entire project.
I see. That's great. R&D usually costs a lot of money, especially when you come from a corporate. They could have spent like quite a huge sum of money developing that, and I think that could help to really shorten your runway of developing this. What about Michael? Do you have you want to share more about the patents that are awarded to you, and how do you translate it to scaling your business?
I think there's numerous benefit of acquiring IP such as this because it is also an asset in the company, but I will narrow it down to 3. I think one is that, like what Stephen has said, is that it helps to accelerate our product and tech development by a huge margin, by a few years at most. And also, I think the second part is that because the clients that we're dealing with are corporate clients, so in a way, we are dealing with very sensitive information from them. And to let you know what we are building a platform which allows companies to do carbon profiling, to do sustainability financing, but also to look for technology on our marketplace. So to build such a comprehensive system requires very strong cyber protection, and cyber protection IP that we acquired from Nokia has been really helpful in ensuring that we can build trust with those clients and ensure that their data are well protected. Though lastly is also the investability of our startup, because having an IP under us improves its investment readiness, and we are getting a lot more interest from investors than ever before.
Yeah, your business on sustainability definitely involved a lot of cyber security threat, sensitive information, and that could really help to block out some of these for the patents that was awarded to you. Okay, that's great. I think we have time for one last question, as in Lastly, maybe you want to share some brief words. How do you see program like IPHatch beneficial to startup like yourself? There will be a lot of startups also, pondering about this, and this could be a good time for you to share with them. Maybe Stephen, you want to have a few words on that?
I think IPHatch is one of the most unique and the best program out there in terms of startup competition, because we were getting a lot of support even at the application stage on how to change our presentation, our pitch, how we can deliver to the investors, and we were being guided and growth during the competition. And after that, after we won, we were rewarded the competition with the IP. There was a lot of support from Peace Future for us to work out various stage of the business development. We're getting mentors, we're getting support, and there are a huge network of other startup and investors that's already working on the project. So you can literally expand into places like Vietnam, Philippines, Singapore. So major markets within Southeast Asia. But in Hong Kong, we've got a 70 million people population market just here at the Greater Bay Area. So we've got a massive market here alone as well in Hong Kong. And winning the IPHatch, we had the support from Hong Kong Trade Development Council in terms of development and of course liaison with IPHatch. So it's not just simply winning a patent. It's a lot more than that. It's about mentorship, growing, in connection, network. So I can utterly, there's no way I can urge other startup to apply and take part in this competition. And our mentor Jason is an absolute wonderful guy in guiding us to success. Hopefully, we'll be a successful company, not just in R&D, but also in the future in business.
Thank you, Stephen, for those wonderful words, and thank you for your support. I really look forward to, seeing future growth and exciting plans ahead for you. So yeah, Michael, back to you. What are some brief words that you'd like to say about the program? Just a quick one.
I believe that IPHatch has been a very huge boost to our credibility and our business. I mean, like what Stephen says, it's not just any accelerator or incubation program that you see out there. They by providing us IPs that work and has commercial use, it helps us to actually to scale a startup beyond its usual market strategy. And I believe that with this, it helps us to facilitate and catalyze a lot of innovation that we thought not possible given our limited resource and manpower. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael, for those words too. And I also hope that, your business will have new plans moving forward. So thank you so much for your time, Stephen and Michael, today. I think we have come to the end, and I hope the audience have a better understanding of IPHatch after today. Back to you, MC.
Thank you very much, all of you, for that very engaging discussion. Now we've come to the end of IPHatch 2021. Thank you to our speakers and to all attending this webinar for your active participation today. Please click on the info button on your screen to submit a rating out of 5 stars and your feedback before exiting this session or joining the next one. Stay tuned for the next segment, Trash to Treasure, Upcycling Food Side Streams, that will commence shortly at 3 p.m. Thank you.